What's going on, everybody? I am ranking every Seinfeld episode. This is crazy. Actually, it's a lot of fun, but I am doing this in parts. This is part one. I have counted 166 episodes because I am counting the hour-long episodes as one episode, and I'm not counting the clip shows. So I've seen 180 as a number of episodes, but I don't know. Anyway, I'm not going back and counting. 166 is still a lot. So this episode covers episodes 166 through 150. So let's go. All right. Number 166, the worst one, the Puerto Rican Day Parade from season 9. This is the one where they get stuck in traffic. Jerry argues with some guy in a car. George tries to use a dumb line in a movie and fights a guy with a laser pen. Elaine leads a group of people under bleachers. They need to use the bathroom, so they get into an apartment and use fake aliases. Kramer burns a Puerto Rican flag. Usually this episode is not shown because of the flag incident, and also it was deemed insulting to Puerto Ricans. It's insulting to everyone. This is just a dumb episode. I don't know what they were thinking here. I think this was the last episode before they taped the finale, and it's just a mess. It's too busy. I think they had like 10 writers for this thing. It just didn't work. It just wasn't funny, and the premise was ridiculous. The only good thing about it was the Cedric and Bob were in it. They come back, and you know who's they are the ribbon guys from the AIDS walk. Other than that, it just was not very interesting. Number 165, the finale. All right. Why do we not like the finale? I mean, it had probably everything we wanted, right? It brought back old characters. It was, it was the finale of the series, so it was big, and I think that's why we don't like it, because it was big. It was nothing like a regular Seinfeld episode. Another reason I think we don't like it is they don't the whole point of the show is it's a show about nothing, and this episode was just big and grandiose, and they had consequences. Usually, I mean, their motto was no hugging, no learning, and this one they learned their lesson. It just didn't work. I don't know. It just did not work. Number 164, the jacket from season 2. Spoiler alert, I'm going to have a lot from seasons 1, seasons 2, and season 9 in this beginning part of the worst episodes. Seasons 1 and 2, I think they just haven't found themselves yet. They didn't figure out what the show was until about, late season 2, early season 3. Then they really started to get into gear. And season 9, I think they just goofed around and gave up, or just there were some really good ones in season 9, but there were some really bad ones too. So anyway, this is the jacket from season 2. This is where Jerry buys a jacket, and they obsessed over the cost of the jacket, and there is a very awkward meeting with Elaine's dad, who we never see again, and Jerry's jacket has a weird lining, and it's suede, and it's raining, and it gets ruined. Okay, who cares? I didn't like Elaine's dad. I don't think anybody likes Elaine's dad. He was a scary dude. It didn't work. Apparently he was a problem also on the set, so that's why they never brought him back. Not sure why they didn't recast him. I don't know, but it just didn't work. It was just, I don't know, not good. Number 163, the tape from season 3. This is the one where George looks for a cure for baldness, and Elaine leaves sexy messages on Jerry's tape while he's doing stand-up. And when the guys find out, first George and then Jerry and Kramer, they basically fall in love with Elaine. And I think that's the problem with the episode, is it's just way out of character for the rest of the series. uh, the relationship between Jerry and Elaine, it was mostly, they kept joking that, oh, we used to date, but they never really got together except for a couple times. So it was really weird, seeing especially George just go absolutely in love with Elaine. But hey, I mean, that's how guys are, so what are you going to do? But also at the beginning of the episode was this refrigerator repairman. He was slightly annoying. um Another reason I list a lot of episodes as not good in this parts is because of horrible characters. So this guy wasn't horrible, he was just slightly annoying, and he was only there for a scene or two. So yeah. Oh, also Ping, the Chinese delivery man, was in this episode. 162, The Deal, from season 2. This is where Jerry and Elaine agree to get together again, but they make up rules, but it doesn't work. They almost end their relationship. They almost end their friendship. And apparently the network kept bugging Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld to put Jerry and Elaine together, and they didn't want to. And so, just to make them happy, now I believe this was the finale of season 2, and Larry David thought that they were the season the series was going to get canceled. So he's like, oh fine, we'll give you what you want, we'll put them together. But after this episode obviously did not get canceled, and after this episode, basically their relationship never gets mentioned again except for a couple times. So it was just another one where it was weird seeing this dynamic of Elaine and Jerry. They shouldn't be together. They weren't together for most of the series, and then seeing them as a couple just was weird. Number 161, The Muffin Tops, from season 8. This is where someone asks George to watch his clothes. He takes the clothes and ends up pretending to be from Arkansas to impress this girl. Somehow gets involved in this weird trade situation between the Yankees and this Arkansas chicken company, and he gets fired from the Yankees. This is how he gets fired from the Yankees. Kramer sold his stories to Peterman for Peterman's book, and then tried to take credit for them. So he created his own reality tour, kind of making fun of the Kenny Kramer reality tour, which I would love to be on, by the way. I don't know if he still does that. Also, Jerry shaved his chest and did like a werewolf thing. And but Elaine started a muffin top store, or she inspired one with Mr. Lipman, and that kind of went crazy. So goofy episode, not necessarily bad, it just wasn't all that good. It was cool to see two of Elaine's bosses, Jay Peterman and Mr. Lipman, in the same episode. And yeah, so just not bad, just not great. It's kind of goofy. Oh, let me preface this by saying any bad episode of Seinfeld is about 100 times worse than most episodes of any TV show ever. So, as you might guess, I'm a huge Seinfeld fan. So, okay, 159, The Gum, from season 7. This is where Kramer gets a theater, and there's all kinds of shenanigans with Lloyd Braun and Gum, and Jerry's wearing glasses, and Elaine accidentally dresses provocatively, and George meets a childhood friend who thinks he's crazy. It's just a dumb premise. I mean, the Seinfeld is at its best when it takes observational things that happen to us, mundane things, and goes crazy with them. These were just crazy, stupid. It was just a ridiculous premise. The one good phrase was when Kramer says, "This is what the holidays are all about. 3 buddies sitting around chewing gum." I like that. Also, Ruthie Cohn was in this episode. George was fighting with her over he thought he gave her a 10, but he actually he thought he gave her 20, but he actually gave her 10, and there were all kinds of shenanigans with that. So just a dumb premise. 158, male unbonding from season 1. I think this is one of the few episodes where the is not in the title. This is the one where Jerry meets an old friend, a childhood friend, and he is basically a horrible person. He is extremely annoying. His name is Joel Hornick. He's done a lot of things, I've learned. His name is Kevin Dunn, I believe. He's Nora Dunn's brother from Saturday Night Live, and he was Shia LaBeouf's dad in the Transformers movies. He was in Veep. He's in a lot of things, but in this episode, he was annoying. He's having lunch with Jerry, and he just totally berates the waitress, and something about turkey. And I guess one of the lines, when I mentioned this online, people said, "What, am I supposed to like turkey roll or something like that?" It was okay. So that was a good line. This is also where we first get Kramer's idea of a pizza shop where you make your own pie. You throw it in, you make it, you put it in the oven. Who would want? I don't think it's a good idea for people to be around a 600 degree oven. It's like, oh, it'll be supervised. Okay, that was good. 157, the strong box from season 9. George tries to break up with this woman, and she just says no. She refuses. Her name is Mara. One thing about George is, and he mentions why he doesn't want to break up with her is because she's not good looking. George, look at yourself, bro. Like, how is George getting all these women in this series? Anyway, Elaine dates some guy who she thinks is married, but it turns out he's just poor. And turns out he actually was married. Kind of silly. But the main part of this episode is Kramer gets a strong box, tries to hide the key somewhere, has trouble hiding the key, and the neighbor is first they annoy him by not letting him in the building. Then there's some shenanigans with the bird or whatever. The bird dies. Basically, Kramer kills the bird because he puts the key in the bird's food, and then they need the key, so it's in the bird, and the bird is buried, so they have to go to a pet cemetery to dig up the bird. What the hell? That's I think that crosses the line. I think digging up dead animals is crosses the line. So that's why it's number 157. Number 156, the dog from season 3. This is where Jerry is on a plane with this annoying drunk guy, and somehow the guy has some kind of medical emergency, and Jerry has to watch this dog, Farfel, and it's a horrible dog. And Elaine and George have to hang out, and it's awkward. And this is also the episode where Kramer breaks up with his girlfriend, who we only see Kramer just acting out, and that's actually a good scene where he's like, "Why would I want to be with someone like you?" And he's just going crazy. It's very funny. But I mean, it's a cool premise. I think we all have friends that if they were together, then it would be awkward because they're basically friends of friends, and if that one friend is not there, then things would be kind of weird. So that's kind of good. But still, what brings on this episode is that guy. His name's Gavin Polone, his character was, and it just the annoying characters bring down whole episodes for me, just for me, as far as I'm concerned. This is the first time we hear of the movie Prognosis Negative. Number 155, the stock tip from season 1. So this is one of the season 1 episodes where they just really it just didn't. It wasn't good. That's my opinion. This is where Jerry and George invest in a stock, and Jerry decides not to, and George sticks it out, and then it goes crazy. This is one of the few times George actually wins. Usually George never wins, but George actually made some money here. Jerry went away to Vermont with his girlfriend, but it didn't go well. and Elaine broke up with some guy over a cat. We didn't even see the guy. So it was just boring. And just not a whole lot happened. Yeah, it was just, but it was weird that George actually won. Number 154, the Seinfeld Chronicles, the pilot. Oh my goodness, was this? It's hard to watch. The pilot was so not like what the rest of the series was. I believe it was like a year between filming the pilot and then filming season 1, and everything is weird. It's just the format is wrong. It was just basically Jerry and George. There's a little bit of Kramer, who they call Kessler in this, and Kessler has a dog. What the heck? Jerry's apartment looks different. It's just not. It was like almost like another universe or something like that. It was just so different from what we've seen from every other episode, but they just didn't. It was just very boring. It was just Jerry and George. There was an overnight. There was a friend that wanted to stay with him, and they were interpreting why she wants to stay with him and is the romantic intentions. It turns out there's not, because she has a fiance. So it just was just boring and awkward. Number 153, the robbery from season 1. This is where Jerry's apartment gets robbed. He thinks about getting another apartment. George is a real estate agent at this time and finds him a great apartment, but I guess he wants it too. So Jerry feels bad. And Elaine also, if Jerry gets an apartment, Elaine gets Jerry's apartment. Okay, I guess this is a New York thing that finding apartments is really hard. Okay, cool. But I really couldn't relate to it, and just kind of boring. It's like, okay, we get it. Finding apartments is hard. Cool. Number 152, the statue from season 2. This is where Jerry gets his house cleaned by this guy who steals a statue that George wanted, and all kinds of shenanigans happen because of this. He confronts the guy, Ray, and eventually Kramer goes to the apartment, pretends to be a cop, and takes back the statue. And then when he brings back he finally gets a statue, and they're celebrating, and George drops and breaks the statue. So that was funny. But this is an episode where the character of Ray basically ruined the whole thing. It was the way he talked was really weird. He was like, Jerry, the king of comedy. Just the way the things he said was just really goofy and dumb and just annoying. So to me, that ruined the whole episode. Number 151, the suicide from season 3. This is where a neighbor attempts suicide. His girlfriend was flirting with Jerry, and while he's in the hospital in a coma, Jerry starts dating the girl whose name is Gina, and George gets a trip to the Cayman Islands or some Caribbean islands, and he goes to a psychic, and the psychic says don't go, but he won't say why, and it drives George crazy. So he gives a ticket to Kramer, who has an awesome time. And for some reason, Elaine has to fast over something, and she goes crazy. This is the first time we see Newman, and also Drake's coffee cakes are heavily mentioned in this. I've never had Drake's coffee cakes. They look delicious, but this is the first time we see Drake's coffee cakes. And there's one scene where Gina, who has an accent, she says, "Who are these stooges you speak of? You will show me the stooges?" Okay, that was good. Number 150, the cartoon from season 9. Okay, so this is with Sally Weaver, who basically is failing as a comedian, and then she starts making fun of Jerry Seinfeld, so she becomes popular. This is also the one where George's girlfriend looks just like Jerry. it's a little creepy. um, Kramer stops talking, and Elaine has some goofy plot about drawing a cartoon. Apparently she drew a cartoon that was a ripoff of Ziggy or something like that. Um, Not a bad episode, but what made it bad was the Sally Weaver, who is not just the most annoying Seinfeld character ever, but possibly the most annoying character on the history of television. It's just so annoying. I don't know, the whole plot. Now, I just learned this actually is based on something that actually happened. Uh, Kathy Griffin was in another episode of earlier in the series, and Jerry said something, insulting to her or something like that, and she used that in her stand-up. So this is actually based on, reality a little bit, but still, okay, fine. Just Sally Weaver, just the worst ever. So there it is, numbers 166 to 150. I'm going to try to do these parts 20 at a time, and yeah, let me know what you think, if I got these right or wrong, and probably come up with a new episode next week. All right, thanks. Bye.